Welcome. Today we're going to focus in on importing and exporting out into CloudGenera. So what does this matter? Well, if you have an application, I'm going to use an example today called e-commerce, and we're going to import e-commerce into this environment. So we already have a bunch of applications here, but we're going to focus on one application here called e-commerce, this example, that we received this data both from quantitative and qualitative, using CMDB and some other spreadsheets that we had, bringing it all together into one import sheet. So you can see we have all the compute nodes and storage and network nodes that we need, as well as other costs that we're going to import for e-commerce. We're not going to focus on any utilization data. So we're going to log into the bulk using the same account that we logged into the Cloud Assist environment with. We're going to choose the file that we were just in here. Let's just close that. Choose this file. We're going to load the candidates and scenarios, the application name and the scenarios associated with it. We're going to load the design of the application, the nodes and storage and the like, and then the other costs that we discussed. We're going to read that file. We're going to start the import. Now, in this import sheet, I have all the applications in there. So it's going to go through, but it's not going to touch the ones that I already have in there because I said update pre-existing. So if there's information that's changed from the last time I did an import or what's in the environment, it will just update that. If I want to replace, I would obviously choose replace pre-existing. And reuse is simply reusing. If you already have the information there, just keep it there. So once we start the import, it's going to run through this progress. As you can see here, it's showing us our session has started. It's going to have this progress bar. It's going to go through, and if you do have an error somewhere along the line, it'll show up error, and then you'll know exactly which candidate, scenario, or compute node that it had a challenge with. That way, you can go back into your data set and just verify that everything is the way that it needs to be. Now, we're just going to let this move along. The next task that we have is to update the costs to this environment. So how we would do that is go to the bulk analyzer tab. We would choose cost admin. We're going to choose multiple scenarios. We're going to fetch those scenarios. We're going to highlight the e-commerce only, because those are the only ones that we want to update. Or we could select all and update everything, but today we're going to focus on e-commerce application. We're going to choose a pricing sheet that in here has the different costs that are associated with storage. So if you just want to keep it generic, you would just use unknown and then put in your average cost for storage. Middleware, here's an example, SQL, some other databases, MongoDB. So this can be as detailed or as light as you like. It can include the capital costs, or if there is none, just the labor costs that are associated with it. Same thing with the hypervisor, any costs and maintenance and labor that's associated with it. The operating systems that you would have or could have in your environment and what those associated costs are, and then your average cost for your hardware. Now, if you don't have any or some of these costs, you're more than welcome to use our CloudGenera generic costs that we have. So please just reach out if you do need those. Let's close that. We're going to now choose this file. And we're going to go down here and we're going to choose update costs. Now I can reset all costs and it's going to go in and it's going to wipe out all the costs that I have currently associated with the e-commerce application. And now I'm going to do a bulk update. I'm going to put in the new costs associated with the import sheet that we talked about earlier. Now, if it's missing any costs, like here, this storage, then it's just going to skip over it and keep it 0. That's where you can go back into your import sheet. You can put these in instead of being HP XP9000, just use the unknown nomenclature, and then it'll choose that generic cost that you have for storage. And that brings us to the conclusion of this demo. As you can see, all of our costs now are going to be here in the e-commerce, as well as the configuration sets. And as you can see, our hardware costs are now changed. We have our middleware and our operating system. So they've been included. And then the other costs that we had shown earlier in the spreadsheet are now in here. So very simple and easy to navigate. If you have any questions, please reach us at support@cloudgenera.com. Once again, that's support@cloudgenera.com.